आज प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की अध्यक्षता में मंत्रिमंडल की बैठक हुई और 21वें सदी के एक नई शिक्षा नीति को उसमें मंजूरी दी गई।
The Union Government of India recently announced the new national education policy called the National Education Policy 2020. With this announcement, the government has taken a huge leap towards the future. This is the first major change in the education sector in the last 34 years. With the introduction of the new national education policy, education scenario of the country is going to be more futuristic and will properly address the needs of the 21st century. Before we learn what changes are going to take place in the education sector with the introduction of the NEP 2020, let us learn about the present education scenario of the country. The present educational structure of the country follows the National Policy on Education that was approved in 1986. There were some further changes in it in 1992. We also have seen some major changes taking place with the implementation of the Right to Education Act 2009. Presently, the schools in the country follow 10+2 structure. The first 10 years of school life can further be divided into two groups: 5 years of primary schooling and 5 years of secondary schooling. After that comes 2 years of higher secondary schooling, where a student gets the chance to choose one of three streams, namely humanities, commerce and science. After this comes 3 or 4 years of undergraduate courses, 2 years of post-graduation courses, 2 years of MPhil and researches. MPhil is often taken to be an entry-level course for research students. One of the major criticisms of the present education structure is that it focuses more on rote learning. Moreover, it is also taken to be a very rigid structure for students with less independence in choosing their subjects of interest. Let us look into the changes that are going to take place with the introduction of the NEP 2020. NEP 2020 completely reshapes the school educational structure. In place of 10+2 structure, schools are now going to follow 5+3+3+4 structure. First 5 years of school education will be foundational years. After that, 3 years of preparatory education, then 3 years of middle school education, and finally 4 years of high school education, which will further be divided into two phases, that is 9 and 10 in the first and 11 and 12 in the second. NEP 2020, unlike the existing school system in the country, focuses much on preschool education. The first 5 years of school education will consist of 3 years of preschool education or nursery education and grades 1 and 2. In the existing education system, a child can directly get enrolled in class 1 without attending preschool. NEP 2020 also proposes to move towards a semester system in all 4 stages of school education. There will be increased flexibility and choice of subjects to study, particularly in secondary school. There will be no hard separation among curricular, extracurricular and co-curricular areas. One of the major features of National Education Policy 2020 is the focus on multilingualism. As young children tend to learn and grasp non-trivial concepts more quickly in their mother tongue, it is proposed that mother tongue or vernacular languages will be the medium of instruction until at least grade 5, but preferably till grade 8 and beyond. However, a three-language approach of education has also been emphasized upon in the NEP 2020. Besides mother tongue and English, children will be introduced to another Indian language from their foundational years. Extra emphasis has been given on the teaching of classical languages, including Sanskrit and Tamil. A whole array of foreign languages will also be widely offered to students at the secondary level to help them learn about the cultures of the world and to increase their global knowledge and mobility according to their own interests and aspirations. The new Education Policy 2020 also proposes exposing at least 50% of learners to vocational education. A practice-based curriculum will be framed for grade 6 to 8, and students will participate in a fun course during grade 6 to 8 that gives a survey and hands-on experience of a sampling of important vocational crafts such as carpentry, electric work, metal work, gardening, pottery making, etc., as decided by states and local communities and as mapped by local skills needs. Before we learn what changes have been proposed in higher education, let us listen to. Let us understand what changes have been brought in higher education. The undergraduate degree will now be of either 3 or 4 years. There will be multiple exit options within this period. The 4-year program may also lead to a degree with research. Let us understand what these multi-exit options mean. A student can now obtain a diploma after completing 1 year of bachelor degree program, or an advanced diploma in a discipline or field after completing 2 years of study. He or she can obtain a bachelor's degree after a 3-year program. However, the NEP emphasizes upon the 4-year bachelor's degree program with multidisciplinary education, since it allows the opportunity to experience the full range of holistic and multidisciplinary education with focus on the chosen major and minors as per the choice of the student. To have better flexibility in this system, there shall be an academic bank of credit, which could digitally store the academic credits earned from various recognized higher education institutions. Students shall be awarded certificate, diploma or degree based on the credits earned by them. Higher education institutions will now have the flexibility to offer different designs of master's program. There may be a 2-year program with the 2nd year devoted entirely to research for students who have completed the 3-year bachelor's program. For students completing a 4-year bachelor's program with research, there could be a 1-year master's program. An integrated 5-year bachelor's master's program has also been proposed. PhD aspirants now need to have a master's degree or a 4-year bachelor's degree with research. States will have the flexibility to decide on the medium of instruction and would be encouraged to conduct more academic programs in Indian languages or mother tongue. Besides all this, the new national education policy also widely addresses the issues of special education, inclusive education, adult education, and teachers' education. To properly implement the National Education Policy 2020, a huge infrastructural change is needed. To properly address this issue, the government has plans to increase expenditure on education to 6% of the GDP. Let us hope for a stronger future with the implementation of the new National Education Policy 2020.